I should have asked Ponce to come on here. I forgot. He probably busy. He be in court so much with all these damn evictions.
Yeah, I got one Monday morning. I've been trying to get them out since 2019.
Ooh.
It's for one of my clients. It was actually squatters. We filed at the end of 19. It rolled over into past the holidays, and by the time we got everything together, then COVID hit. Then they was just like, then we kept getting delayed, and it was just crazy. So we finally got it straight.
Dang.
Yeah, because
No, they happy.
yeah, when we got our writ, then the bailiff kept holding us up. We was trying the same bailiff, and they was like, well, you got to have this, and we don't know if we can come out yet, and all of that. I was like, man. So finally we got it together. So I'm gonna be out there Monday morning.
Bright and early. Time to go. Time to go. You probably be out there with a big ass grin. I would.
Yeah. But you want to know the sad? Well, it ain't sad, but so this is what I'm telling people. Like, so the people that hadn't paid their rent, right, and they haven't been working because everybody hiring, so you should have a job, even if it's $15 an hour, because most of the people,
that's double because remember they was protesting for the 15 an hour. Then with COVID, it forced it. Like White Castle started at like 17. I'm like, White Castle?
Yeah, everybody, Panda Express, Burger King. So 15 an hour, you can pay your rent. It ain't like you can't work as much as you want to because they all hiring. But here's the thing: when no people get evicted and they haven't been working for 3 months or more, when they go to make these new applications, who gonna let them rent a house from them?
Thanks.
Because they're not gonna have a good landlord reference. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
It's gonna be tight. I mean, it's gonna be real tight. Like the government probably gonna have to step in and help them people with some housing or something. Because private landlords ain't gonna have it. Because everybody gonna be feeling like you got treated like shit. So.
Thanks. Let me do this introduction. So, what up, though, y'all? Happy Friday to you. Thank y'all for tuning in on YouTube and the Instagram, social media, all that for What Up Though Fridays. Today's topic is the importance of a good CPA. I got special guest Reggie P on here again. We might just make you every month, because you had got real good feedback. Like he might as well be on here every month. He's not a CPA, but he's a broker, and I'm not a CPA either. But I think I know enough to say some stuff of what not to do, and like how to keep your books and how important they are. Church announcements, EYL, which is Earn Your Leisure, BMF, King Chill, and Successful Real Estate and Built to Flip, Denson Construction, Opulent Realty Team, Detroit Title Escrow. We're all bringing EYL here next Friday. It's a free event. The link is in their bio to register for it. Is at the Sloppy Crab from 6 p.m. to 11. Reg, you need to be there too.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. We got them coming to the D. So come out. This is the time to get your questions answered. Not a paragraph of questions, but maybe one or two. It's going to be a dope networking event with all people in Detroit. Like I got a lot of, my friends in high places that's going to roll through. So it's going to be pretty dope, and it's free. Y'all know the rules. If you have any questions, just a question, not a paragraph with semicolons, commas, and all that good stuff. No thesis statements. The minimum is $5 to the church building fund, which is at Denson Construct Serve. If you on the gram, you can buy a badge. They gave your girl badges. You can support on there or with Cash App or whatever. The minimum is $5 American USD dollars. So, all right, Reg, my bag. So continue with your eviction story.
Oh no, I was just saying it's gonna be tight for tenants because you had the people that honestly couldn't pay. They needed government assistance or whatever assistance they could get, right? Mm-hmm. So those people, you feel sorry for them, but depending on where your property was at, you probably collected at least some money from the tenant or the government, right?
Right.
But when they first rolled out them programs, tenants wasn't even applying. So it was like it got to the point where they had to let the landlord start applying for the tenants in some areas just so that they can collect rent. But you have a lot of tenants that just wasn't paying, even though they was collecting unemployment and all the benefits, and they wasn't paying their rent. The landlord wasn't getting paid, and now all of these jobs, all these places, like you said, they hiring, but people not going back to work because they was making more money staying at home. But the downside is when you get back out into the market and you apply for a new rental property, they're going to ask for your previous landlord contact information.
Yep.
They're going to ask for your work history. Well, you ain't worked in a year, you know what I'm saying, or longer. Your landlord not going to give you a good reference letter. So it's either going to be, what Fat Joe say, yesterday's price is not today.
Not today.
So what's going to happen is, as a landlord, you're going to have a lot of private landlords to say, hey, I either can stay in the market and rent at the regular market rate to good, solid applicants, or I can rent at a higher rate and take on some of the riskier tenants. So you just went from a decent situation. Now you're paying more money because you're trying to rebound from a situation you probably created. Fair. So a lot of people that are tenants are not thinking about that. They're just thinking, oh, I got over for a year without paying any rent.
Yeah, but eventually all good things come to an end, and y'all, blanks gotta go. Like nobody got to put up with this. Like, I'm grateful that I don't have no tenants right now because all my rehabs still all my projects need to still be rehab that I own, but I'm still collecting rent for a lot of the wholesale deals I flipped that I rehab. So they still think I'm the owner, so they know COVID, no COVID. If we ain't had no discussion, you up out of here. But these are all the ones I collect for, like, they've been paying on time.
Yeah, yep. I mean, you have a large portion of tenants that were paying on time. So, I mean, a lot of landlords not hurting, but you got the landlords that were really supplementing their income with these rental properties.
Yeah.
And that's like, from an investment standpoint, that's the wrong reason to get a rental property, especially if you're a new investor, right? It's supposed to be extra income or money that you put back into the pot to reinvest with. It's not until you really get to the point where it's replacing your income and it's all passive and it's paying all your bills. But then you got so many units, if 2 or 3 people don't pay, you're not hurting. But if you hurting off of one tenant, you in the game wrong.
Well, even if you hurting off of if you was working, depending on what your job was, well, some people really are, like you said, out here really needed help and struggling. So that unemployment was, a blessing.
Right.
But most people was using their unemployment in Miami, Vegas.
Oh man.
Where else everybody was going? Cali.
Dominican Republic, they was getting them in jackets.
Yeah, on jet skis, living their best life, not paying their rent. And now it's time to go. Y'all want to be sad. And then they be the main ones at the back to school stuff to get the kids the free book packs.
Yeah.
The school supplies. I'm like, y'all doing the most, dog.
Yeah, it's all mindset.
All mindset. That's what they choose to do. So that goes back into the topic, the importance of having a good CPA, because with all the programs that was available for the landlords or just businesses in general, a lot of my subs was able to get a lot of those grants in the SBA money, because I had been on their head for years, like, get your books together, like, just to do it. So, because you never know what could happen either with a loan or when I started bidding on certain federal work, I already knew I got to show the last 3 to 5 years tax return. So let me start now. So when that time comes, I'm already ready and I ain't got to get ready.
Right.
Yeah. So me being on my subs' head, so they was like, man, thank you, dog. I was able to get 20. I was able to get this, or even the grant money they was able to get because I stayed on their head.
Yeah, most people. So when we talk about like accounting and bookkeeping, even just knowing your numbers. So like, I don't know if you ever watched Bar Rescue.
Yeah, that's my show.
Yeah, so you know how he go in right away. He start looking at their numbers and he can tell them how much they losing by like free drinks and all of that. And they be like, it'll be somebody that's 200,000 in debt, but they might be giving away 180,000 in drinks per year or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yep.
like if if you don't have your paperwork in order, you technically don't have a real business. You just hustling, right? Because you need to know your profit and loss. You need to know your projections for the upcoming year or the next quarter. It all sound hard and complicated, but it's really not.
Yeah. And
So,
there's apps you could use too on your phone. You can use Expensify. I mean, they're
yep,
not free, but all you got to do is link all your bank accounts and I think credit cards, and it'll automatically categorize every ride and show you your income, outcome, and all that stuff. So that's a start if you can't hire a CPA. Like that's one. Tax box is another. Tax bot is one. You can go on Fiverr and find you a CPA as long as you got the bank statements and stuff, and they're categorized everything for you too into a profit and loss statement. So like who's a big one on Instagram? I'm cool. Miss Business CPA, like she's amazing. I use Profit Growth Financial. They're out of Baltimore. Both firms I just said was black owned. I
right,
met my CPA off LinkedIn. Like she sent me
yeah,
a message and I was like, oh, babe, you right on time and you look like me and you a construction developer CPA. So that's another thing. Make sure you hire a CPA that's specialty to your field. Because when I first was on the highway, I just hired a CPA to do my taxes, and I didn't know nothing about. I was 1099, so I
right,
didn't know nothing about all the write offs that I could do at the time, and I end up on like $5 grand. I'm like, there's no effing way that you could tell me I owe $5 grand with all these write offs. So I just never went to her again, and that's when I really started figuring out like I need a CPA who specializes in this because it's like hundreds, if not thousands, of write offs that we can do every year.
yep. So my thing is, so one thing I gotta say, right? So if you there she is, superstar.
There's
Hey,
Emma. She
hey,
having a picnic
girl.
tomorrow, y'all. It's free. It's a real estate picnic. Wait, is it free?
Yes, friend.
Yeah, it's free, but still bring something.
Yep, or donate.
Yeah,
Or donate.
donate. What's
Yeah,
the minimum donation?
I take whatever you looking to donate. There's no
Yep.
minimum.
No, forget that. $10.
Don't show up and be like Uncle Pete.
Right. They have a
Well,
can of
yeah,
your pinto beans.
Uncle Pete ain't there. These are professionals.
Right.
Yes, it's going down, y'all. So sorry
Yep.
for my lateness. Where we at?
No,
We
we
were
ain't
just
no
getting into the
picnic, right?
numbers.
Yep.
Yep. So, Asia was just saying about hiring a CPA that understands your industry and your field. So, when I first started as a sales agent, I remember one year. So the first 2 years, I ain't make no real money, so it kind of didn't matter. But my third year, I only made like 35,000 or something. It wasn't a lot, but that was in the 90s, so it was a lot,
That
right?
was a lot back in the
That's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
balling.
So I went to H&R Block to do my taxes, right?
Mm-mm.
Man, I got up. The guy told me I owed $7,000, and I was like, "Wait, I only made 30. That's a third of my income."
Yep.
And I was like, "I don't even have 7,000 in the bank after paying all this money and buying them top tens and all that."
Them
you
your
know,
work shoes. Them your work shoes.
yeah, them my work shoes.
And
So,
you had a beeper at the time too?
yep, I had my pager, my Nextel, all of that. So I went to one of the agents in my office, was like, yeah, go to my CPA. So they actually charged me a little bit more, but I only end up on about $1,800 federal, right? Because there was so many write-offs on the business side. Then you have all the stuff for home and everything. And it was just like, that woke me up because I was like, damn, what if I had made 300,000
Exactly.
and went to H&R Block?
Yeah.
So it's real important that you have a CPA that not is only good, but they understand your business or whatever industry you're in, because some people understand real estate and real estate laws better and what can actually be deducted and everything as well. And we get a lot of CPAs giving advice like to realtors or investors. Like some CPAs or tell you, well, get a LLC for each property. Or sometimes the attorney will tell you that, and the CPA would tell you that's a bad idea because depending on your setup, you may have to do a separate return for each one.
Exactly.
And they get expensive.
Yeah, so you want to always talk to a good attorney and CPA that kind of understand a little bit of both sides of it, the law side and the accounting side of it.
And just to add to that, it's better to get them on the front end because, you know, I learned the hard way just waking up and deciding I wanted to be an entrepreneur and didn't have my players in there, you know, the attorney and the accountant. So I just went into it thinking, oh, I'm an LLC, you know, I'm, you know, S Corp, this Corp. I have no idea. So, you know, it's better to kind of get them on the front end and tell them the plan that you're looking to set up so that they can get you started correctly. Because just like these guys said, it's the same thing when you set up an LLC, but now you're trying to sell your property and you don't have your bank account set up. Or you're trying to deed it from yourself over to your LLC and you don't know how you do your tax returns. You know, those guys are your partners. So it's better to bring them in on the front end so that you start off correctly versus trying to clean it up once you're knee deep into the you know what. Take it from someone that know.
So this is the funny part about accounting, right? So when we talk about real estate, a lot of people they want to fix and flip, wholesale, or buy rental properties. And I get calls from investors. And when I ask them, I said, what type of profit are you trying to make? What's your minimum profit you need to make on a flip? And a lot of times the new investors, they'll say something like, well, it kind of don't matter as long as I can get one done. So, because I want to get the experience. Well, that's all good. But I could tell you, if you're going to do a flip and your profit is going to be less than 20,000, it's not worth it in most cases because the thing they don't factor in is the capital gain taxes.
Yep.
So you mean to tell me you're going to put up 100,000 of your money for acquisition, another 60,000 to pay Asia to get it together or more, and then you're only going to walk away with 20,000, and then you got to pay Uncle Sam some of that as well, and this all took you 4.5 months to do it. It's not worth it for the experience. You could have just partnered with somebody and just say, hey, I just want to be in on the deal, 10% on the deal. I just want to learn, right? So a lot of people, when they go to these classes, they're not giving them tax strategies. That's why you need your own CPA to look at your personal situation. Are you married or are you filing single? All of that matters. Are you going to set up an LLC? Are you going to set it up as an S Corp? So a lot of people just don't understand that part. They just get in and be like, I'm going to flip these houses. Oh, man, he's sharp.
Right.
Hey, I'm like,
damn. I see you, Deacon Fry.
Yeah, I know. I thought we had Rick Ross on here. Way back.
Good evening, everybody. Jeez.
What's going on?
That means I look crazy every other day, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, you know we be looking homeless.
Shining star up in this piece.
All he needs is a dive with a burgundy feather.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you need a dive, dog.
Yeah, you look like you about to go collect your money on a few corners.
Hopefully I will. I'm going to an event, so I still had to chime in, though.
Okay. It's not the Players Ball, is it?
Yes.
No. It's the opening of a new cocktail lounge down here on Brush Street.
Sugar sharp
cool.
up in that piece.
Right, he casket sharp, Emma.
Trying to get chose.
Y'all crazy.
That's funny.
All right, back to the CPA.
Right. Well, Marcus is definitely talking about the importance of the CPA because I used to be on Marcus' head, dog.
Yes, she did all the time. Like she'd be like, "Bruh, get you a CPA." I'm like, "I am." She's like, "No, get one." She's like, "You need it. Stop running your business like a business."
Right.
I was like, "Are you a business or a business?"
Trying to do everything. I was trying to be the broker, CEO, HR, everything, and just it wasn't working out. I'm missing deadlines, missing paychecks, and I actually ended up messing myself up a little bit. Luckily, I had just started, hiring people and doing payroll because I wasn't sending in the payroll taxes like I was supposed to.
Yep.
So I kept getting notices, and then you're ignoring them because you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna eventually get to them, but you never get to them.
Yep.
So
Trust.
when I did hire my accountants, I had to go back. They had to correct all the mistakes that I had made, especially when it came to payroll. And it was just a headache. And I actually ended up paying more my first time signing up because they had to do what they call back work. They had to correct everything from the previous year.
Yep. When I got my CPA, I got her, I think it's 17. And then I had her just start the books from I think it might have been 18. It was like the middle of the summer. So she went all the way back to January to whatever month we was in, and then going forward. So I had to pay for that. But luckily that's when I got my truck. So that was 18. Because in my 10,000 grant, I had put in there to hire a good CPA and for that. So that paid for that. So I was lucky. But that was like $1,500. And that was just for her to go to the beginning of the year. And then to go from, I think it was November or October going forward, and then January 1 we started going forward. So I pay her $546.50 a month, but everything's online in the portal. I upload stuff, she uploads stuff. It's an app. I don't even talk I know she doing great because she done hired the whole staff now. I don't even really talk to her no more.
Yep.
Well, see, I'm still feeling the wrath trying to clean up from, again, jumping into it saying, oh, I think I want to be an entrepreneur with a split personality. And going
Absolutely.
on here just do this and didn't know what I was walking into. My first year, I think I made, $150,000. Was not prepared. Not prepared.
Yep.
And I'm still cleaning that junk up. So we say that to say, no one's above admitting that you need professionals in those fields because you just can't do it. You got to stay in your lane, and then you got to hire a team. And the CPA is number one.
It is. The CPA is number one. I mean, my thing was also, I had money going out everywhere, which means, anytime I had to return MDs, I'm writing checks. Anytime especially my property management division, I definitely had money going out because people think that their property management account is like their personal piggy bank. So they want to take money anytime they want to. So now I'm sending out money from anywhere. Cash App because it was received by a tenant and everything. I'm not letting any of the money post to the bank account to even account for my actual revenue, to take the fees out and everything else. So it was a lot. So my accountant helped me structure my finances, as far as when it came to, I only pay out on the 1st and the 15th. No other time after that or before that. That's it. So I don't care if you get mad, and I let all my vendors know you only get paid on the 4th or the 15th. So you need to, if you're going to work with me, you're on the net 14.
Yep.
And if you can't do it, I understand. Then you can't work with my company because I'm not paying you in cash on that day. This is not a day laborer type of job. You have to take a check and you will do a W-9 so I can 1099 you at the end of the year.
Yep. So being in real estate will force you to learn accounting, right? Because if you're a broker, you got to have your escrow account and then your general account. Being an agent, I tell anybody, if you're an agent, an investor, whether you're buying and flipping or you're a landlord, even if you're wholesaling, your best friend is separate accounts. Because if you're not disciplined, having separate accounts will make your life so much easier when you go to an accountant. Because for my investment properties, of course, some people don't have a LLC. They do it under their personal name. You should still have a separate bank account, maybe at a whole different bank than your personal account. So not to touch it, right?
Right.
So in my sales business with my team, I have my personal account, then I have my real estate sales expenses account. So this is where I pay all the Zillow, Realtor.com, postcards, and everything flows through there. When I show my accountant that particular account, in my QuickBooks, they automatically know what this is. There's no guesswork. So if I ever get an audit, they can't say I commingled funds, right? So going back to, I didn't use my investment account to buy those Jordans that I wanted, right? So everything is separate, and that way it'll make it easier for you and your accountant. So if you have rental properties, you probably need to have one account just for your security deposits, one account for your rents collected and all your expenses just for that part of the business. Then you might want to have a different account just for your fix and flips. The other thing that's going to help you do, you really need to know how much profit you're making. Because if you have it all mixed in, like let's say you're wholesaling and you made 40,000 last month in assignment fees, and it's in the same account as your fix and flip properties, and at the end of the year you got 200,000. Well, it's going to be hard for you without any type of accounting software or anything to look and say, what did I make off of each property? What was my return on investment? It cost me this amount to pay for my VA and my marketing and everything. You need to be able to break all of that down, because I could tell you from experience, there's a lot of people in real estate that's making money, but they're not making a profit.
Yep.
It seems like they're good because the money keeps coming in and they can pay their bills. But when you look at their P&L statement, they're not really making a real profit.
What's a P&L for those that don't know?
You said what?
What's a P&L for those that don't know?
A profit and loss statement. So you really should run one every month. How much money you made, how much your expenses were for that month. And if you really want to get detailed, maybe you do a P&L for each property you own. That would be the best way to do it if you're an investor, landlord. And if you're a flipper, if you're flipping properties, you need to do it for each property, because maybe you did all cash, or maybe you did your profit and loss. If you did a hard money loan, would be different than if you paid cash for it with the exact same pricing, because with the hard money loan, you're only paying your down payment. So your return on investment is based on that down payment, not the entire purchase and acquisition, right? So you can get real detail with it, but the simplest thing to do is separate your accounts, and probably just use QuickBooks. They got QuickBooks online. You can hook it up to your bank accounts. It's easy for your CPA to read. Your CPA can actually set it up for you and tell you where to put everything, or you can do like Asia and just hire somebody to just go through everything every month for you.
Yeah, because she used QuickBooks too.
Yeah.
I have access to that, but yeah, you can just do that, or those apps like I mentioned earlier, like, or do it yourself. Like I still do the profit and loss on each rehab I've ever done. Like I got an old black and white notebook, and I got the top of it. The first line is the address, then the amount of the contract, then I got a labor column and a material column.
Yep.
Because I need to know what everything costs and who is paid what and what's owed to who.
And a profit and loss can show you, like if you doing the same type of business, let's say you're wholesaling, right? Because I do this in my real estate sales part of the business. So I might pay Realtor.com $800 a month, and then I might pay Zillow $600 a month for ads. When we closed on deals, I tracked where all the business came from. So I can tell you last month we made $30,000 on Sphere of Influence business. This is people we know, repeat clients. We made $8,000 from Zillow leads, and we might have made $4,000 from Realtor.com. So 6 months from now, I can look back and be like, why am I still investing in Realtor.com if all my money is coming from these other sources, right? I can double down on these sources. So for wholesalers, if you're marketing and you saying, hey, I'm sending out mailers, my VA is calling this area, but all of my leads are coming from Detroit and maybe Dayton, Ohio, but you're marketing all across the country, why not double down on Detroit and Dayton, Ohio? So if you're not tracking that stuff, you won't even know. You'll just keep spending money where it's not working. And then when you get to your CPA, you can say, here's a clean sheet, a spreadsheet, QuickBooks, or whatever, and it makes it easier for your CPA to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like applying for a grant.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Or government contract, and they need your numbers, and you can just push a button and send it to them, and you get approved.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, and this is gonna be my last thing. I tell people all the time about it, because if I did not do it, I would not have been able to get the money that I got through grants and other things when this pandemic happened. That's what stopped a lot of businesses, even we thought thriving businesses, from getting PPP loans and getting the SBA money and any other grants things that they offer, because we would think that a restaurant would have all their finances in order. Well, some of them didn't. They were just, again, using QuickBooks, but they had no other person to help them facilitate where this money is supposed to go and how it's being allocated, pay rates, and etc. So when that pandemic hit, they couldn't survive, and they couldn't get the loans. They weren't getting approved. And that's why I tell a lot of people, especially our businesses, African-American businesses, we think that once we file an LLC and we get an EIN number, that's it. We open up a business bank account, that's it. And that's not it. It's more than that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he dropped the mic.
Right. So I can tell y'all a story about
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna have to go ahead. I'm gonna try to chime in the next couple of hours or so, okay? If y'all still on here.
All right.
All right.
Have fun.
Go and collect that money, man.
Right.
That money, honey.
Where's my money?
He Deacon Fry.
Right. So I was flipping properties when I first started in real estate, but I really wasn't doing it at a high level. And then when I left Century 21, me and my partner, we were flipping houses, a lot of like $30,000 and $40,000 homes, and we would put maybe 10 or 15 into them and sell them for like 70 or 80. So like in between 4 and 6 months, somewhere we had made like 200,000 profit. And I think that year I made about 60,000 from just real estate commissions from the sales side. Now the issue is we was using the money from the flips. We brought a building on the boulevard, actually right down the street from your place, right on the corner of Hastings and the boulevard.
Oh.
And we was putting all the money into that building because we was going to open up a real estate office, actually a Century 21. And so the next year when we went to do our taxes, now I was paying estimated payments on my real estate sales commission, but I didn't understand capital gain taxes. So when I left my accountant, he was like, you owe $22,000. And I was like, back then that was a lot of money, right? Yeah. Especially if I didn't have it. Because remember, we spent all the money on this building, renovating and everything, and we wasn't even done. So I went back and was like, man, so he told me to get on an installment plan, and I was paying like $350 a month. Seems like forever. I don't know who was getting my money the most, Melfar or the IRS.
Not Melfar, you went back.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all remember his Melfar days?
Yeah, you paying money forever. So I did that, and I was like, man, this don't feel good, because it seemed like you just never get done. But I paid it off, but then I still owed the state. I owed them taxes, and it was like, this don't feel good, and it put a bad taste in my mouth. It almost scared me to not wanting to make money, right? Because I'm like, we done flipped all these houses. I made all this money. So I went into this whole like fear mode of like, I don't want to earn too much money because I don't want to pay the IRS, right? And I had to switch my mindset, because my financial planner, like 2 years later, he was like, how would you like to have $1 million tax bill? And by that time I understood it. I was like, yeah, of course I'd like to have that bill. But that $22,000 hurt at the time, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward what Marcus was talking about when I had my own brokerage and all my agents, of course, they were 1099 self-employed independent contractors, but I started hiring staff and I had to do tax withholdings. So I had to send money off to the IRS based on what I withheld from their checks, right? So of course you get behind on that stuff. You're not keeping up with it. This is my first time. Then I look up. Here we go again. It's like Mark came and he would do the estimates for me, and I would pay out. But we ended up doing so good that year. It was miscommunication, all of that. I ended up on like $40,000 between income tax and tax withholdings. And I'm like, shit, here I go again, right? And this time I was wishing I only owed $22,000. So we worked it out, and again, installment agreement. That's why I know about this stuff. So I was making them payments. I had to chunk that down. So when I look back at it, it was all because some stuff I didn't know, and I just didn't ask the right questions, right? I was always approaching the business as if I wasn't going to make a lot of money, right? So if you using the law of attraction and you go into all this motivational stuff, ask for a good CPA while you asking for all these blessings, right? Lord, I'm gonna make $1 million, but I want a good CPA too, right? Set me up now, Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. I need to ask for Donald Trump CPA, because I think what year it came out that he only owed like $700 and some dollars.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I was mad because I was like, man, I paid $1,500. Who is CPA?
So here's the thing, right? These past 2 years and a short period during the market crash were like my best. So this year and last year, and then 2 of the years when the market crashed were my best financial years ever. And I spent the less money on taxes.
Wow.
And I go back and look at my returns and be like, how did this happen? But it was the way things were structured and what I paid. You know, I still pay my estimated taxes, but it was like you start looking at other deductions. You look at how you're spending your money. Don't believe the people on Instagram when they tell you go out and buy a Ferrari and write it off. You know, it's things you have to know before you go out and buy these big cars and stuff like that. But there's ways a good CPA can prepare you. Like, do you contribute a certain amount to your IRA account, or you can get a SEP IRA where you have a maximum that you can contribute based on your income and your profit, and you're deducting the amount that you contributed against your income taxes. Now you're going to get taxed on that money when you pull it out at retirement, but you're writing it off now. So if your CPA doesn't know that, talk to a financial planner as well, because basically you saving money by saving money for your retirement. So I'd rather give it to my IRA account that I can invest in and buy stocks with than give it to Uncle Sam, and I can grow that money in my account.
Now, when you say your estimated payments, just for those folks that don't know, by you being, I'm assuming 1099, do you do those quarterly?
Yeah, quarterly. So here's the thing. Like my CPA may say, here, pay $10,000 every quarter based on, so your first year doing it self-employed, your CPA is going to look at your tax return, and a good one is going to say, do you expect to make the same amount of money or more next year, right? And then they're going to say, okay, based on this, you paid maybe $20,000 out in taxes. All right, so next year we're going to have you pay maybe $6,000 per quarter, right? So every 3 months you're sending a check to the IRS for $6,000. If you like me and you don't have that much discipline, or you're using your money to constantly make money, every time you get a check, the IRS is not saying you have to wait to the quarter to pay me. You can go online and look, I got a $4,000 check. I'm gonna send them $400, right? It's still counting towards that quarter, because when you go on there, they ask you what are you paying for. You're paying estimated 2021 tax payment, right? Mm-hmm. So this way, when the quarter is over with, maybe you were supposed to pay $6,500. Maybe you've already paid $3,000 into it, and you're not biting that chunk all at once.
Right.
Because a lot of people are self-employed, they don't pay estimated taxes, and then when April come, they like, damn, I owe $21,000. Exactly. Like, how you gonna chunk that away? Then you get on an installment plan, but here's the thing: you're on an installment plan for all of 2022, and you need money to keep your business going. Then 2023 come, and you owe another $23,000 plus interest and penalties.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't be understanding, like, why is it an echo?
I'm not getting an echo.
I'm not getting it either.
So it's my side.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I'm gonna mute myself and come back and see if that works.
Yeah, no, people don't get it at all. You know, again, we see it when we go run title. And, you know, and that's the thing, just tying a lot of what we're talking about back into when you're buying real estate. Everything that we do in our life, at some point, it impacts us if you're bringing real estate into it. And, you know, just like how Reggie's talking about making those estimated payments or coming out where you owe on the back end, those could potentially turn into IRS liens or state, well, what we call as state and federal tax liens. So how we talk about it, and I get it all the time because I'm dealing with an $86,000 tax lien right now. The guy was like, how do I know I owe that much? And that's only the face value. I mean, that's just the face value. We're not talking about penalty and interest. But again, it's because he owes the Internal Revenue, and by not making those payments, they've placed a lien against his name as an individual. He picked up some real estate, and the moment he picked up the real estate and he put it in his individual name, guess what? That lien attached.
So if he would have put it in his business name, would he been all right?
It all depends on if it was a sole member business and the way that his tax returns are. So I can't say yay or nay to that. But when you're looking at it for the surface of saying his LLC owns the real estate and he's just a manager of it, but yet how do you file your tax returns? Are you a manager? Are you doing an S corp? So it goes back to what I said earlier. When you're setting your business up, you need to talk to your accountant about what type of structure do you want? Because that's where we went wrong at. I was like, oh, I'm be an LLC. And my accountant was like, yeah, no, it's just you. That's not what you are. You know what I'm saying? Still figuring that out, but it makes a difference. And that's why we say it's better to set it up in the beginning, everything in the beginning. But yeah, those liens they attach to you as an individual. They automatically attach to anything real estate related.
So here's a tip for investors too. If you owe a large tax bill, typically the IRS will give you some options on your installment payment, and talk to your CPA. But from what I can recall, there was an amount that, well, this is what they told me, right? This is an amount you can pay per month, but they had another amount I can pay to where it wouldn't show up as a lien. In other words, they wouldn't file a lien. Whatever you do, you don't want them to file that lien, because that's gonna, if you're buying and flipping properties, like Emma said, you got that lien out there, and you may only owe them, you may have owed them 30 and you paid it down to 17, but they got that lien out there. When you go to buy a property, that's going to show up on title. Now you got all these issues, whereas the difference in your monthly payment could have been maybe your CPA negotiated and said, hey, instead of them paying $350 a month, they're going to pay $550 a month if they don't put a lien out there, right? And so it's different ways a CPA can help you other than just your tax returns. You probably need them to help you negotiate some things with the IRS, because the whole goal in real estate is you need to live to your next deal, right? If you got IRS and friend of the court taking all your money, you get out the game real quick. So,
Friend of the court.
And I mean, you know, and we focused on heavily, and this happened to me back in the day. We focused heavily on the IRS and their liens, but the IRS, in my opinion, are a little bit more lenient and will work with you more than the state.
oh
yeah,
yeah,
the state gives zero, you know what. I mean, I remember back in the day, I was in the payment arrangement with the state and IRS and the MESC office because I didn't have my taxes taken out when I was getting my unemployment, which we can probably talk about too. But I'm paying everybody, so I'm not making nothing really. But the state, like, oh, you on payment arrangements. And I went to go and try to get an apartment or something.
yep,
And my name, my background check, and guess what? They was the first ones over $562.
right.
Place and back in the day I didn't have 562 to cash it out. You know, 562 was like how much you want a month, but still they were the first ones to place a lien. They'll put a lien on you over, I mean, pennies, you know, compared to what the IRS will do. At least they will work with you, and that's why, you know, when we see IRS liens, we know something, some kind of communication or something didn't take place with someone versus the state, because the state don't care. They're following the lien.
They just ignored the letters. That's all that was.
Yeah.
What, the IRS?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because anything I get from the IRS, they sent me a letter last year because one number was wrong on one of my 1099 on my subs. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Just misprint. My bad. Let me go and fax this over because they'll make you pay taxes on that 1099 person if you don't get that right. So, like, now when I talk to new subs, like, I always tell them to give me their EIN and either my CPA will look it up or I tell them to give me a copy of the actual form because, you know, it happens, you know, they can give you the wrong, or they can give you the wrong one on purpose because they ain't trying to have no, you know, paper trail.
Yeah. And then, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yep. I was going to say too, like you brought up, a lot of times we hire a handyman to do work for us and they like, well, you ain't paying me, you're not paying over $600. You don't have to show it. I still make them do a W-9 form because I might only pay you $300 to fix a rail on this job, but I might pay you $300 10 times this year.
Exactly.
Right? So so especially when you're paying $200 or $300 in cash to somebody, which I don't recommend at all, you still want that W-9 form. So it's good to always pay by check and have a paper trail because we get caught up in that. Or some people say, I give you a discount if you pay in cash. Well, you need to know, okay, if I was paying you this amount, but now I can't write it off, what's this going to look like on my tax return? So I need a huge discount if I'm paying you cash because I can't even show this as an expense.
Yeah, everybody get 1099 now, even the dude cut my grass. You get the W2 player or W9 because he cut so I done pay him probably $3,000 this year alone just in cutting grass.
Right.
So I'm like, you gotta shoot after $200, hey, you gotta do a W9 player.
Yeah. And like, if they complain, just refer them to your accountant.
I'm just gonna refer them to somebody else because everybody know you work with me off top. You getting a check or either direct deposit from my CPA, which will be paid out every Friday because she pay out once a week on Fridays. And I'm going to need you to fill out this W-9 form. I might need a copy of your ID just in case.
Yep.
And, if not, then I ain't got no work for you.
Yeah, we get a lot of too because, you know, there's obviously for us as individuals when we're doing our taxes, we use our social security number as our tax ID number. So, you know, for you investors out there, you sellers, when you're at the closing table, when they say, well, we need your tax ID number for 1099 purposes, you know, for us as individuals, again, it's our social. If you are LLC, you typically have a tax ID number 3848 or something like that, depending on when you set up. Where a lot of times what we run into is those that are foreign investors. They don't realize they can get an ITIN number. And, you know, so when they don't do that and they're trying to sell real estate and it's real estate here in the States and there's certain forms you have to fill out, they get hit with what's called FIRPTA.
Yep.
which is another tax because you are a foreign investor and you don't have an ITIN or a social security number where that you can be taxed accordingly for your proceeds. So now we're taking 15% of your gross sales
Mhm.
price.
Damn.
And that adds up too when you count your pennies on how, going back to what Reggie said, if you're doing a flip, and maybe you don't have a social number because you are foreign and you haven't applied for it. If you're only making 20 on the flip, you're not making a profit. And now you got to get hit with a FERPA, which is 15% of that, or
Yeah.
15% of your gross sales price. I mean, you made $0.
Yep.
Right. What are you here for?
Right.
But again, it all goes back to when you're setting that business up, get your accountant on the front end.
Yep.
Yep. Even if
So
you don't had a, I think even if you don't have the income, the money to pay that CPA, and still start interviewing some, so you can kind of feel like, okay, when I get all this in order, then this the person I'm gonna go with. So now you ain't done made the money. You like, oh, I gotta hurry up and find me a CPA, and then you just rushing and trying
I
to.
mean, hello, I got hurry up and find a CPA. Yeah, running through. Yeah, and
yeah.
it hurts because you get the wrong one the first few times around. You want the knowledgeable ones, like as they said earlier. You want the ones that dibble and dabble in your field. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you're an investor, you want the ones that's telling you how to set you up with your proper LLCs, or if your mobile closer. I mean, I think you write off for what travel time and your mileage and
Your
all of that.
mileage. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's a lot.
Because there's like, for example, I got an app, Shepherd Share or something like that. It's an app that just track my mileage. It's right on my phone. So when a trip come up, it'll ask me, is this personal or business?
Yep.
I'm like business, and it track my mileage and it estimate what my deduction would be. So when I go to my CPA can look and just be like, hey, this is what your mileage is for the year, your maintenance on your car. It's so many little nooks and crannies in there that a good CPA can find and get your tax liability almost down to nothing. And you like, I get to keep all this money. And that's what it's about. You want to pay your fair share to the government, you just don't want to overpay. And with all of the stimulus money that hit the economy, they're going to have to collect this money back from somebody somewhere. And that's why they're attacking people over a certain tax bracket, because they need to recoup some of this money. And you're going to see that more and more in the future.
Yeah, cause like with my CPA, like she asked me about like, cause I know with COVID with my mom and stuff, like I was able to certain stuff I was able to write off and stuff, but I still had to like document all that. So like they own it, cause I think probably maybe not this upcoming tax year, but that 2023 when people got to file for 2022, people about to start getting their feelings hurt, especially those who did unemployment and then already had the taxes come out.
Yeah.
They gonna get their feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in that, for me, it was my thing. You don't know what you don't know. I literally was like, I want all my money up front. I deal with it later. But had I known that I could have had taxes taken out, I'd have been like, just treat it like a paycheck for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. It's a percentage, it's a cut percentage of what you were accustomed to making, but just take it now so that I don't have to deal with trying to come up with it later, man. Because that was a hard pill to swallow, having to pay those MESC taxes back. Just take it out. just take it out, But again, you don't know what you don't know sometimes.
Right. So what I tell a lot of agents, and wholesalers, so I have like a spreadsheet my real estate coach gave me. So like every commission I put in, and for the month I add it all up, and then I'll put in my expenses, and it's a simple spreadsheet, and it's already a formula in there, and you probably can find some online, but it's already a calculation in there for how much you have to pay in taxes. So let's say my commissions or assignment fees was 15 grand for the month, but I spent maybe 3,000 in marketing and this amount on cell phone and this amount on whatever, right? That's all real estate related to that income. It'll automatically estimate how much I will owe in taxes based on that income, right? Now, I might not have $1,500 to send to the IRS because I went and partied or whatever, I might only have 5. So you send that 5, and at least you got a head start on that 1,500, and you start making it up throughout the rest of the year. But the main thing is you need to be able to look at it in the process and not get knocked out by it in April.
Yeah.
That's where we all go wrong, because we're not even looking at our numbers on a regular basis, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, where this come from? And that's what hurt us the most.
Well, that's called self-discipline, and it's easier said than done for most folks. I mean,
Yeah.
Not saying that you're not right, but they looking at, oh shit, I got this right now, and I got to take care of this, and this, and I want to pop this bottle, and I want to go hit this spot. Shit, let's gonna wait to the next one. They're gonna wait till I hit the next lick, and then the next lick come, and they like, shit, I want to go here, and pop another bottle. I mean, again, I'm not saying that it's right, but that's ultimately what it.
Well, when you pop them bottles, you make sure you take one of your clients. Talk to your CPA. You need to pop some bottles with your clients, even if they sit in the corner. You took them out. You document who you was with.
Exactly, marketing.
Yeah, it's all of that. Like when I'm
entertainment.
Yeah, we went at the theater, and y'all was a sponsor, a drive-in. Yeah. And that's a write-off. That's part of my marketing.
Exactly.
But then I also wanted to see the movie too. I wasn't going to pay $2,000 to see the movie, but I get to write it off. My whole family get to come. My clients got to come, and you get more business from it. So you only know to do that type of stuff if you got a good CPA. Hey, I'm doing this client appreciation event, like a picnic or something like that. I'm having a good time. They having a good time. I get more business from it. And you documenting it, all that. You got flyers and everything about it. So the IRS come calling. You got, hey, this is how much was collected. This is how much was spent. Maybe it was just a break even, but it was a business expense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because we get a lot of calls, and I think I said this, where folks are like, hey, I want to take and put my real estate into my LLC. 2 things I ask. One is, did you get a policy prior? That's a whole nother topic. And 2, have you spoken with your accountant? Because you doing this on your premises, but you may want to contact your accountant, because depending on how your taxes are and what your plans are, you may be hindering yourself versus what you think is helping yourself, But you ask those questions. You say, have you spoken with your accountant? Do you have an attorney? They're like, oh, I'm good. I say, okay, here's your form. But at least as from one professional to another, we ask those questions. I had one of my guys call me the other day. He's a 1099 client. He sells cars or something like that, and he had a lien where he was making payments on his lien, but he didn't realize that it was a recorded lien against his name when he got ready to sell his property. So going into another topic of working with the Internal Revenue, what they wanted to see before they would just make him pay the full lien off. The title company was like, you got to pay the lien totally off. And he's like, I'm in payment arrangements. I don't want to do that because I'm not going to make any profit from my sale. Right. So what I explained to him to do was contact the Internal Revenue, let them know that you have some assets that you are looking to sell because of this lien is hindering you, and have them do a net sheet. Get a net sheet over to the IRS. That way they can see, are you truly making any money on this that can go toward your payment arrangements, or will they do what's called a partial release? Essentially releasing their interest for that particular real estate. It has nothing to do with whatever else he has going on, but it will release their interest for that particular real estate based on a net sheet, showing what his bottom line is going to be and whatever they determine he should pay or should not pay. And a lot of people don't realize that. So when they find out they have liens against them and the title company like, oh, it's got to be paid, in their mind, they like, I don't want to do the deal. Or they go and they do it the opposite way. They do a quick claim deed or something like that because they don't realize sometimes all you got to do is just contact the Internal Revenue and talk it out with them. Especially if you're making payment arrangements.
And they good with working with you as long as you're responding to them. And then if you got a good CPA, like a lot of them, I talk to CPAs that used to work for the IRS. Like they know the tax codes in and out. Yeah. And if you feel intimidated, call a CPA that really knows the IRS laws, and they'll work a lot of that stuff out for you. because you might owe 40, your profit might be 35. The IRS may say, all right, give us 15 off of the sale. You walk away with a little bit of money and you continue your installment arrangements, right? So there's ways you can work it out. You just need a good CPA to help you out with that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I added Marcus back.
The boss is back.
We can't see him now. Must be secret location.
Oh, he's sipping.
Ain't no secret location. It's called My Car. That's right.
He's sipping. Are you done networking already?
Yeah, I'm done. It was a lot of people in there, and my anxiety with COVID is very high. So.
Yeah.
Understood. You showed your face. You did right.
Yeah, I did it for so he can be there at our event next weekend.
Yeah, y'all coming, Emma, Reg, next Friday?
We actually, what time is it over with? Because we shoot our show on that day from 7:30 to 8:30.
What event? What?
It don't start till 6, 7, so it'll last probably for like 11,
Don't
12.
say y'all put it in the group and I missed it because I have no clue.
You did.
We did.
We did, but that's okay. So since Emma didn't read, it's the Earn Your Leisure event. We're hosting them here in our awesome city next Friday. It's
you
free.
talking about the thing that I over at Sloppy Joe's?
Yes.
Sloppy Crab.
Sloppy Crab. It's two sloppies. It's a Sloppy Crab and Sloppy Chops.
You talking about the guys who's gonna be here at the flyer,
right?
Yeah.
And then you got Eric and
for me because I registered already. You came for me. Okay.
My bad.
Yeah. I will be at
We love you
next week. Yes.
Sloppy Crab.
Well, we probably gonna meet at my house, I guess, since I'm closer, and then we just take one Uber because parking gonna be stupid.
Okay, so we Ubering over. So
I mean, that you feel like parking.
So you want me to leave work early? Ugh.
I mean, we probably go CP time about 7.
Okay. Yeah, no, I did. I registered already.
Yeah, and then Eric,
use them. You got a whole staff you pay. Ain't this about having a good CPA?
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
So you pay all these people, Emma.
I do, and I have a payroll company that handles that part. So you got to talking about forgetting to mail in the taxes and
Yeah, that was one of my biggest things. Like I said, it got me in not a lot of trouble, but I was way behind.
Yeah,
keeping up with those tax payments and mailing that stuff in, or actually, you can actually do it here in the state of Michigan electronically now.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it enough time, you get the interest and penalties and stuff. So
it's the same thing with us, with the escrow company, with our water escrow accounts. That I think it's time for us to make it rain, man. We sitting on so old escrow accounts. We got to find people. Those after a while we have to turn over to the state and get with the accountant on 1099 filings. I mean, it's the same thing for us. Any business, no matter how big or small, there's certain obligations and certain parts of the business, as you said, Marcus, we can't do or we shouldn't do. We have to pull away from that. I can't be the accountant trying to do the escrow report and do the 1099 upload and worry about the water escrow. Some of that stuff we have to be like, okay, accountant, take care of that for us. So it's the same thing on our end. And I'm dreading it, like, oh God.
I tell people all the time to read the E-Myth. It'll change the way you see any business you run, because it'll tell you, like, you do what you're good at and let everybody else. It's about leverage. You let other people do the other stuff. We just, a lot of times, you probably like me, because you probably can do it better than everybody, or at least you think you can do it better, right? Until you hire somebody and be like, damn, they killing it, right?
Exactly.
Then you be like, oh, man, because you be scared to spend the money, too, for the best talent. But then the best talent usually pay for itself over and over again, so it becomes an investment. But, I know that feeling.
Yeah, and that's kind of what
one thing I was also thinking about was because a lot of people don't want to get accountants or CPAs or anybody to help them with the finances because they're scared to pay taxes. And you guys probably already covered this, but I think one of the fears that I had about the taxes was that, okay, if I really start paying myself, I'm gonna actually end up owing the IRS because, again, at one point when I was doing this business, not specifically this company, but just in general, I was a businessman. Like every year I broke even. Every year I had a negative AGI, and it was just like because I didn't want to pay the IRS. Okay, but what I learned through my CPA and accounting firm was that it's okay for you to owe. I mean, most people do it on, especially if you don't pay yourself or pay quarterly or payroll taxes into the system. So the thing about it is that as long as you identify, accept, and put yourself on a payment plan for the amount of money that you did not pay them during the year, you're okay. So for instance, at $49,000, let's say you owe $2,200 to the IRS in taxes that you didn't pay during the year, you can get on a payment plan at $200 a month and have it come out automatically, which as long as you stay on that payment plan and you're paying, they have no issues with you. You can continue on with life.
Right.
And here's the poor man's way to do it for wholesalers and agents, or even investors that's doing a flip, right? Whatever you make, if it's an assignment fee or if it's profit from the flip, I'm not going to give you exact numbers, I'm just using an example, but take maybe like 20 or 25% of that money and put it in a separate account and just say, this is my Uncle Sam money. So even if you don't send it to them every month or every quarter, you got the money there. It might be collecting 5 cents in interest, but it's still there. So if you decide to pay quarterly, you collected months of income that you set aside in that account, or at the end of the year when you go to your accountant, you may have 25,000 or 30,000 sitting there, and your accountant may say, "Hey, you only owe 18." Now you feel like you got a tax return like regular people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those separate accounts really help. Like if you know you're gonna flip a property, if you know you're gonna wholesale a property, just start setting some money aside in a separate account just for taxes. Then you have your other account for whatever other business entities you have. But set the money aside, even if you don't have a CPA yet, because you know you're going to have some tax liability on whatever it is you're doing. The only people that don't really worry about, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. My recommendation is to always start off with one, because it's easier if they start off with you in the business, because they can help you structure it the correct way. Before you start making a lot of money. Like one of my mistakes was that I did not start off with one. Okay, so I'm an S corp. That's my designation with the IRS, and as an S corporation. So my thing is that my accountant CPA helped me determine if I should be an S or a C. I'm not going to go into the differences. That will be your own homework to do. But at the end of the day, because I did not start off that way, my tax bracket was higher, which means I had to pay more taxes on the money in which I actually made. So my thing is, if you start off with them at the beginning, then pretty much your monthly payment may also be cheaper, as well as the taxes that you may end up owing for that year that you got started. So like what I recommend for all of my investors and people who are starting companies, serious companies that are going to make some money, is that, hey, sign up with the CPA right now so that they can also do your projections for the future. Because just because you don't make any money, you still may be able to file and or do future projected figures to help you get grants, loans, and things of that nature based upon your service or whatever service you're in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking about, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, speaking about loans, like you mentioned something, people be scared that they're going to owe. Like a lot of times when you're going through it and you like, oh, I just want to file and claim zero, right, on everything. That does you no good when you go apply for a mortgage, right?
Nothing at all. You're absolutely right.
So you made $150,000 and you saying you write off everything. When you go apply for that mortgage, they're going to be like, well, you told the IRS you made nothing, but you telling us you made $150,000. but then you got 80,000 in your bank account. Something ain't adding up, right?
Exactly.
So it has to kind of make sense. So you probably gonna end up paying some taxes. It's just no way really around it. Paying taxes is a good thing, but a lot of people just try to cheat the system, and there are things called a tax audit because they will come back. But on the flip side of that too is maybe you did your tax return. I had this happen where you did your tax return with a CPA and you filed it because you wanted to meet that deadline, and you like, wait, something just ain't right, and you get a second opinion from another CPA, and they say, oh, you probably overpaid by 5,000. Now that CPA may charge you 500 or 700 to amend your tax returns, but you're gonna get $5,000 back, right?
Exactly.
So you can go back and amend your tax returns too if you got some advice and they say, okay, you probably filed this wrong. So the key is just communicating with the IRS and making sure you're getting your returns in on time.
Do you know how far back you can go for amendment?
I think I want to say 2 or 3 years or something. I don't know
I thought it
exactly.
was 5.
Okay, I never had to go back. I only did it once.
Yeah, I had to go back a couple of times. I think it's 5.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't go back no more. I just go forward.
Yeah.
All right, then. I mean, you know.
Yeah, that's because you just
Listen,
bent that corner.
I did what I did. I'm done.
You're a boss. I mean, you
That's
like right.
Red said that's just because you just hit them corners, dog, and you collected on Friday.
Collect that money, yep.
He doing the numbers, Red? He the numbers man?
Yeah, he the numbers man.
Remember the numbers, man? Y'all remember the numbers house? When they used to write the numbers on a piece of paper and you come to your house and write it down. I'm telling my age. Oh God.
Yeah.
No. I had to take mine down the street to the number lady. Okay. My grandma didn't play that. And she'd be like, here you go.
One of my godmama number lady on the north end.
I get a quarter for running it down there.
That's funny.
Right, I don't feel as bad then. I thought I was
Nope.
about the numbers. Yeah.
And if she hit, I get $1.
Speaking of which, don't you have to do? I mean, I know we're not accountants, but I mean, we obviously pay attention. Don't you have to pay taxes on if you hit the lottery or no?
Yep.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
That's why if I ever take all my shit right now. I'm not paying no. Don't give me all my lump sum and tax me right now.
Yep, and your casino earnings, all of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the casino.
And you can also write off your losses at the casino too. Most people don't know that.
Yeah, if you're a professional gambler.
Yeah. Yep.
For real, that's you can put that as your job title.
What's a professional gambler? You up in there with a pack of smokes and you in there longer than 8 hours?
I don't know if it's an hour requirement, but I know you can. Like that could be a professional, like a professional poker player.
Yeah, I think they have I think it's based on how much your income, what percentage your income comes from gambling. And that's how they determine if that's your primary source or whatever, or if you can claim that status.
But with gambling though, I think it's like if you just win and hit at the little, and you just put your little voucher in, I think you straight. But I think it's when you got to go up to the teller at a certain amount, then they're gonna send you a W-9 form.
Yeah.
I don't know what the amount is though. It got to be probably like $2,000 or something, or $3,000. I don't know.
Oh wow. Yeah, I just remember the whole my mother like, here, take this ticket in. I'm putting her on blast. Take this ticket in. I'm
Yeah.
But look,
when I see your mama tomorrow, I'm gonna tell her. I'm like, listen, if Emma won't take it in,
she's probably
listening. I'll be like, if Emma won't take it in, give me $50. I'll take it in for you.
Look, let me tell y'all something. My mama, my auntie, every senior in my family know we all had this conversation. If I ever hit the lottery, one of y'all is claiming it. Because they not going to tax y'all like they going to tax me.
Right.
And they was like, all right, cool. And my auntie was like, well, I'm going to have to move. I'm like, auntie, we can buy you a new senior building. You can leave all this shit. Okay?
So some of the common things that you could put on your tax return, I mean, the stuff that we know of without giving, again, CPA advice, are your property taxes, your prepaid interest.
What you pay construction, rehab, materials.
Yep, materials.
If you're a first-time
Closing
home buyer, your closing costs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Your work clothes, like all my construction clothes, I get to write off.
Yep.
My work glasses, gotta be able to see.
A
So
portion of your house, if you use that, I'm thinking that's
Yep.
probably common now with
Yep.
COVID. A portion of your
Yeah,
square
your
footage.
home office and stuff.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi
Yep.
you can write off. Your cell phone bill, like I write
Yep.
that off.
Is it your lease mileage or the lease vehicle? Which
Both.
I mean, your mileage or the vehicle?
It's both. You can write
If
off both. Your car payment, because mine is in my business name, and if it's not in your business name, you can write off a portion. Because they gonna say, well, how do we determine what's personal and what's business? But since my truck is in the company name, every time I get in that truck is business.
Yep. Or if you can show them you've been tracking it, like I said with the software,
With the app.
where I put in business. So like if I go on appointments, I'm tracking that mileage. But you can also like if you got multiple vehicles and you use one strictly for work, it's different things you can do with your vehicle. That's sweet as far as your tax returns.
Yep. Cause I use Mile Out Q for my mileage app, and you can do personal or business, and then you can put on like if it's a location you frequent all the time, like here I got a business office or whatever for that location and stuff. But it's pretty dope. Like I just leave it running in the background, and I just gotta go in and swipe for personal or business or whatever, and then you can break that down too by it'll say like is it for hold on, they got like different categories.
So are you doing that? I mean, I guess the whole
there you go.
purpose of bringing that up was we can't see it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
You got different categories like if you're going between office, a customer visit, meetings, meal or entertainment, temporary site, airport travel, air and supplies.
What about your Uber and your traveling? Uber
Yep.
and travel if it's business.
Yeah, I write off my Ubers.
Yeah, even your travel expenses, like if you pay for like classes, if you traveling for business and all of that, like, or if you go, like, if you're an investor and you go out of state and you're looking at properties and all of that, you want to track that as well because, or if you go to like a conference, right, and it's a business related conference, whatever the cost of that conference is, your travel, your hotel, you want to track all of that and document it and keep it and put it all under like that same trip or whatever, right?
Yep.
And then, you can't, I probably couldn't write off my wife expenses, but if I'm going for my investment company, since she's part of that, I probably could, but it just depends. Talk to your CPA. Yeah. So, I mean, I went to a conference. I just so happened to be in Miami or something, and only went to the conference for an hour. The other 4 days.
All you need. All you need. Because, like, it depends on how your company set up. Like, my mom was listed as my vice president. My aunt is my, like, I forgot how it is, but everybody is wrote, like, in my original operating agreement. So, any trip we take, as long as I discuss business with them for at least an hour or two, this whole trip is tax deductible. We just so happen to be in Barbados. So, meeting.
Hey, look. Now here's the other thing too. Talk to your CPA about
That's how it was
kids.
with the combo.
Facts. We sure had a meet. We got minutes and everything.
Oh,
you
that's
said what? You said talk to your CPA about what, Reg?
Hiring your kids because you can pay them. I think it's you can pay them. They don't pay taxes on the income.
Right.
But then you can have that money go straight to like their college fund.
Yep.
So you're writing off the expense. They're not paying taxes on it. And then they can have like a college saving fund or something. Okay. Talk to your CPA and financial planner. So instead of you just putting money directly in their college fund, you pay them for doing your mailers and all that other stuff.
You get the write-off for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or advertising, like if you got them in one of your company shirts, Detroit Title and Escrow, take some pictures, post it.
Like
boom.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Yep. That's your marketing person.
Maddie looking at me right now like,
Yep, that's your marketing assistant.
Yeah.
Or your mascot.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff to tell our audience. We don't have any questions out there?
Let me see. We got a lot of comments. Melissa said, I hope y'all having a good Friday. Thank you, Melissa. Melissa sent cash out $10. She always sends something. So whatever event we had next, like you ain't gotta pay dog because every show she sent $10. So
Hey,
shout
Melissa.
Vivian says I was on the job for 14 years, then got laid off. I paid my rent on time the whole time. Yep.
Thank goodness I received that.
This is when we was talking earlier for y'all came on about the people who blew their money in Miami with their unemployment.
Oh yeah.
She said I miss being at home. Oh, she from here. So what up though? She lives in New York now. So awesome. Rhonda says she used QuickBooks. What up though, Rhonda?
What up, Rhonda?
That's the link to the EYL event. Let me check the gram questions. Let me see. Somebody did ask me, can you write off your CPA bill? Yes.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
you have professional expenses when you pay attorneys or CPAs, financial planners, and things of that nature. That's all part of your business expenses.
Yep. Or if you book a consultation.
Some CPAs won't put their expense on your return.
Yeah, because then that's a hit on them, right?
Yeah.
Well, they shouldn't be your CPA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Red flags. Now, see, maybe we should do that. We should do pros and cons of a CPA. I don't really see no con unless you're trying to do some legal stuff. Or maybe pros and cons of finding a good CPA. That's definitely a con. Like, if your CPA got an issue with invoicing you, so they won't write it off on their stuff, that's a no. That's a red flag. I don't trust them. I'll tell you something I did stupid. When I first started my company, the guy I was dating at the time, who his best friend knew somebody who did taxes, and I went to her house. It was stuff everywhere, and she only charged like $50. I was like, I would never do this dumb shit again. But I think
I went to the liquor store. I went to the liquor store.
So that was the difference also between a CPA and a tax preparer.
Yeah.
Right. Two different things. I did the same thing. So I had a
little sketchy.
You know, but this was back in the day when they're like, yo, you need the tax hookup. She over there off of Finco, up in the liquor store right behind where they do the chicken at. Her name, blah, blah, blah. Bet
right.
$50, I'm in there. Run that. Back in the day, not now.
I mean, here's the thing, like, and here's a good one. The people that you start with, man, or as far as CPAs or accountants, may not be the people that you end up in your company for a long period of time. Okay, because as your business grows, like for instance, I had a CPA when I became self-employed as a realtor. Actually, before I came,
Marcus, I hate to interrupt, but this whole suit thing really does you. I mean, it gives you justice. I mean,
look,
you're portraying.
You need to die with a feather, dog.
And the education. Oh my goodness! Wow. Keep going.
You just need to die with a feather.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like the CPA I started off with, which was a family friend. He did well when I was working at the bank and getting a W. No, he did very well when I was working at the bank getting a W-2. So when I left the bank and became an entrepreneur as a realtor, he had a hard time pretty much, number one, taking my business serious. And number two, he wasn't very skilled in dealing with entrepreneurs. So the thing about it is that your loyalty sometimes, like, hey, they started off with me, they have always helped me, they have my back, but their expertise may just not be there, so you have to move on to somebody else. I went to someone else after that, who I found out later was a tax preparer, which didn't work for the company nor myself, because again, their thing was they always recommended me to break even and or break even or have a negative AGI, which I thought was good because I didn't end up owing. But it was bad because if I wanted to apply for loans for myself, my business, car loans, mortgages, anything, I mean, on paper, I'm poor. You know, I have a negative AGI. Like, that's crazy. So again, you have to keep searching. Yeah, you have to keep searching, and you have to actually have a good. You have to actually have a plan about what you're going to do for your business. Even if you're not a broker, but you're just self-employed, you have to have a plan for that business. You know, hey, in the future, I plan to buy another home. In the future, I plan to buy another car. You know, you want to put yourself in a winning position, and having those people in place. Listen, I preach by it, and I thank Asia all the time, because if it wasn't for her pushing me to do it, I probably wouldn't have done it. As I always tell people all the time, Asia and Emma made me the bougiest bitch ever.
What?
Okay?
Because Emma, we upgraded Marcus. Well, I upgraded Marcus. Was
Y'all
like Team
upgraded me.
Spirit. He was Team Spirit. I was like, I would
Team
never get a Spirit.
No. I knew that. I was like, I need that Delta room. But no, but you hit it when you said when you were a W-2 employee. This is the pair or whatever you had when you moved over to entrepreneurship. Things changed for you, and even with that, depending on what job or what field you are in your entrepreneurship, in my mind, if I'm doing real estate and I'm doing escrow and I'm doing things that I'm doing, I need an accountant that can really help me with my books from that end, versus if I'm, I don't know, just a totally different field. I mean, there's specific accountants for specific roles, you know what I'm saying, or jobs, because I want my accountant to be able to tell me, whereas I'm learning still. I need every write-off I can get. Tell me. I mean, I'm like, you're right, I can write my registration off, right? Okay, great. All of that and some. But if they're in a different field, they may not be able to tell me that, So that matters too.
Like even when I had my when the second time I got in the IRS, not necessarily trouble, but I had the huge bill. I had a CPA that I was working with during that time, but to negotiate that bill down, because I did end up getting that bill down by like 15,000. But the CPA firm I went to, they actually had a tax lawyer as part of their staff. And I never used them to do my tax returns. I only used them to negotiate with the IRS, because that was like their thing. They help people save money and all that type of stuff, or negotiate them bills down. But it cost me $4,000 to do it. So then I went to another CPA after that knew more about not only real estate, but the employment side of it, that knew how to keep me. Because sometimes your CPA would just hold you accountable. Like, look, here's the bill, you need to pay it. And you say, well, I don't have $8,000 this quarter. Well, pay $6,000, right? And and the CPA is going to make sure they remind you of that $2,000 you still owe. They're going to send you an email every week. You got this $2,000, right? It just keep reminding you. So sometimes it's about personality match or how their business is set up. They might have a sloppy house, but they may be good at what they do. But you may outgrow them because your business is too big for them.
Now I'm gonna say this. So 2 things about like the person Marcus said he did business with before. Were they mad at you when you had to move on? Because some people be getting offended. 1 and 2. Oh, they wasn't. That's good. 2. My cousin, she does taxes for H&R Block. And I remember her and my mama would argue every year, because she'd be like, my mom like, you can write off your car registration tab, which is true.
Yeah.
Even as if you ain't no business, just a regular Michigan person, you can write off your car registration tab. She would argue my mama down. My mama's like, that's why you will never do my taxes. You don't even know that. And then I guess you thought my mama was lying. She's like, well, I work for H&R Block and stuff. And I'm like, I've been writing off my car tab since my 2002 Sebring. So like, what is you talking about? Like, and it be a lot of accountants, or not even accountants, because people who do taxes at H&R Block or Jackson,
those are tax preparers.
Right? They don't know nothing.
I took the course. I had all the books.
Me too. I took the course too. I took the course in high school.
Right, I can do my own taxes too, but I choose not to. I took accounting all through King and some in college, but I'm not about to do that.
Stay in my lane. Here you go, Mr. Tax Person.
Your fee is how much? Here, do you want a check or direct deposit?
I'm in my lane. Can you take it out of QuickBooks? What?
Yeah, like just take your money on the first. So automatically she take it, like. But these tax preparers, they just don't know stuff. I'm like, you will never do my taxes. You don't even know the basic stuff that I can write off. Like I call my aunt house, she be like, "Why I say Denson Construction Services on the call ID? Because that's who paying this phone bill."
Oh yeah. And you need a CPA that's really staying on top of the new tax laws, especially with real estate.
Absolutely.
Because, like, if you're owning rental property and you're talking about depreciation and things of that nature, you need to know, especially when it's election time, you getting a change of the guard where you got one president that's maybe, one party, and they're more in favor of people that's on real estate or capital gain taxes or whatever. You need your accountants to be on top of that. And you also need a good CPA that's going to really understand your personal life, because there's other things that may affect how your tax returns flow as well. So, like me and my ex, we take turns each year. We switch off on claiming my daughter, right? So, some accountants will just look at your last year tax return and don't ask you questions. Now the IRS is like, why are you claiming this kid? You know what I'm saying? Or you got your baby mama's boyfriend claiming the kids at the same time, and all of that.
I knew it was coming up there. That ring up there with Quick.
Well, listen, that happens. It happens. And
Oh.
just for a moment, just for a moment. If you do that and you apply for a MISTA loan, I had a client do that. They wanted a MISTA loan. They applied for a MISTA loan. We had to make sure when it went to underwriting, she claimed her boyfriend's kids.
Yep.
So listen, they said that you on your application put that you only have one child. You claimed an additional child.
Yep.
And you said that you are single when apparently on paper you look like you're married. We had to get the ex-boyfriends, okay? ID to show
boyfriend,
because they were. She said they were no longer together and that he was not going to be there in the household, okay? But you claimed his kid. A letter from the mother, the parental mother, stating that she allowed it, or the divorce decree or the custody agreement, okay?
Yep.
Because in the custody agreement, it could show that if it was his year to claim the child and he allowed the girlfriend to do it, then he was within his rights. We had to get a copy of his ID showing that he did not currently live with her, that they did not have the same they did not have the same residential address at the moment. Now, when these stipulations came for this loan, in my mind, I'm like, this I might as well just give up. It's not going to close. I mean, to call and ask an ex-boyfriend to do this for you, apparently,
and the baby mama, the ex-boyfriend,
the baby mama.
That's a lot.
Listen, it was just a blessing that they had an amicable breakup and that everybody was still cool with each other.
Yeah.
But yes, we had to get all those documents over to underwriting MISTA for them to review it to approve her MISTA loan. So you have to be careful about what you are claiming and who you are claiming on your taxes.
I mean, so again, that kind of goes back to I'm taken back by that one, but it goes back to what I said earlier. Personal things in your life impact how you're moving your real estate, whether you're buying or selling.
Yep.
And one of the most critical personal thing in your life is how you're doing your taxes.
Yep.
Wow.
And here's the thing, like a lot of times, and I get it, we need a little bit of extra money or the extra push, but a lot of the things we do on the street or we heard on the street or somebody else did, or it may seem slick, when it comes to the IRS, it always catch up with you somewhere. It's paperwork. You're not going to get around it. At some point in time, it catch up with you. The issue is when it catch up with you, you got all this interest and penalty and fees. So now it caught up with you and it's twice as large. So when you're making these moves, that's why I said you track everything that you're doing so you can project the future. So like in that situation, like, maybe it's not a good idea to claim this kid and get this extra couple thousand because it's messing me up from buying this $200,000 home with 1% down versus me having to pay 5% down, right? Yep. So we have to be mindful of that because we fall into the quick lick category too
Yeah,
often.
you hit the quick lick, but
Yep.
you hitting the quick lick and you don't know what you don't know. Who would have ever thought, because because you don't do loans, that it was going to impact like that?
Yep.
Like you said, you thought you was just hitting the quick lick and y'all was going to split it, and it's
Yep.
holding you up from getting your home. Wow.
And the kid bad as hell. You don't
Or
even
that's
like the kid no more.
It ain't even yours.
ain't even your baby.
Messed me up from moving to Southfield.
Right. I'm trying to glow up.
All right.
Wow.
All right. So Ryan Trinidad said, "You guys are amazing. Been following for a while now, and the info you guys put out there helped me win a bid at the Wayne County tax auction."
Yes.
All right. That's
Woo!
what.
You can thank us, Ryan, with a donation.
Yeah.
Let the church say amen.
Amen. Melissa said, "What is the difference when you 1099 a contractor versus them giving you a receipt for their service so you can write that receipt off?" That's a good question.
So here's the thing, right? That 1099 has their tax ID number or social security number on it, right? That receipt, people write receipts all the time.
Every
I
day.
want you to start thinking, always when you do business, you always have to think about how this is going to look in court or in front of an audit, IRS audit. Which one would you rather have, a 1099 and a canceled check showing that you paid this person? I paid John Doe, here's his 1099, or a handwritten receipt that they gave you, or a typed receipt. But everybody got software on their computer where the receipts look official, right? Can an IRS auditor call that person and verify this information? But if you got a signed W-9 and you got all their social security or a tax ID number and you got a check, a paper trail, they really don't have to call and verify anything because it's all there, right? So I would say just sometimes you have to help the people you're in business with do business. Like Marcus said, Asia helped him get out of business into business. So you got to help the people around you because all the tide rides together. So if they just want to keep being under the table, sometimes you might outgrow them and you have to start doing business with people that really want to be above board.
But sometimes that might cost you more money on the sub side.
Yeah.
It's gonna cost more.
But I mean, that's the cost you pay to do good business, and to be
Thanks.
on the up and headed in the right direction, looking at the bigger picture.
That's a
that
fact.
comes with that.
Because here's the thing, right? Because this is like, I respect Asia and a few other contractors I work with. I respect their business just as much as their ability to fix a house, because the worst thing you want to do is be in the middle of a flip and then your contractor assets get frozen because they got IRS trouble, right? Now they don't have the money to finish your project, right? So you have to think about somebody's how they're running their business if you're going to do business with them. So yeah, the handwritten receipts is cool, but if you start doing big numbers, it's not always gonna go over too well.
I mean, I do a handwritten receipt for a small amount. Small, like you cut my grass once or twice. All right, I'm probably not going to 1099 you, but when we get to $300 or so, you're getting a W-9.
Yeah.
But you made a good point there, Reg. And again, for me, my role in this is always to bring back what we discussed into how it impacts real estate. And it's the same thing, you doing business with someone and how they're running their business, and then you guys are putting your name on a deed together, whether it's a company, your LLCs, or you as individuals. If they're not taking care of their business correctly and you're now on title with them on a property, and IRS lien come up or a state lien come up, not only does it impact them, but it impacts you because you're on that real estate together.
Yep.
Or friend of the court.
Yep.
From friend of the court, I think of my years of doing it, I've only seen 2 liens that have popped up on where it impacted title from a title standpoint. Now, it may be different when they're looking to get a mortgage or something. I'm not really sure because of the background checks that need to be made. But we've only seen it. Well, I'm saying Davin and I have only talked about it twice in the years of us doing it, where that it was a title challenge.
Gotcha.
Which is odd.
Right.
But again, it's the same thing. You're not paying, so because you kind of look at it like some small bills, you're not paying the small bills. And you want me to do business with you? Yeah. I don't know, But that's just something to think about when folks be out here like, oh yeah, we're gonna go into business and do this property together, and both of us gonna go on the deed. Or I want to add my boyfriend or my girlfriend to the deed, so we can make some moves. Okay, well, how do they handle their business affairs? Because the moment they go on that real estate, anything that's going on with them now impacts that real estate.
Yep.
And another thing I want people to think about when you're selecting your accountant or your CPA is you have to think about what type of security measures they have. I mean, it's cool to go to somebody's house, but you don't want all your Social Security, tax ID information just sitting in somebody's crib, right? Unless they got some type of safe or some type of security measurements in place to protect your personal information. Because, a lot of them won't even email you documents no more, right? Or anything that'll have your full social on it. So you want to think about that. And in order for a person to run that type of business, they may have to charge you a premium price, because not only are they charging you for the service, they're charging you for the protection too. Yeah. So you want to keep that in mind. Don't just old boy up the street you grew up with, he's doing taxes out of the basement.
The liquor store by the gas station.
I thought mine was bad, but you said the liquor store.
Yeah,
that was
right
crazy.
Up there like Finkel and somewhere. I remember her like just to the liquor store. There was a chicken. Like they sold chicken on one side. You go in, she had the little corner where you do the taxes, and then everything else was the liquor.
Oh yeah, right on had a little table over there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it a tablecloth on the table?
No, it was just one of them long gray tables with papers everywhere. And I thought I was, run my taxes real quick. And, the rapid refund shit, all that back in the day was an attraction. Now I'm like, no, don't do it. No. But again, that comes with growing, changing your lifestyle, moving in a bigger and better, and looking at a much broader picture,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Did you get some chicken?
No.
You ain't want to get
chicken, but you trusted the taxes.
I've never been one to eat chicken from the gas. But if I go in the gas station for gas and chips, I want gas and chips. I'm not detouring to the chicken.
Ain't that backwards, Emma?
If I go in the liquor store, I'm not detouring to the Subway or the chicken. I'm just not doing it. But I did go back in the day to get my taxes done because they told me that was the lady to go see.
So you trusted with your social, but not your season, but not their season.
My man wasn't where it is. Nobody said I was perfect. I'm not now, but yeah, I was back in the day.
Marcus, you want to go to Flood since you suited and booted? You can't hear?
No, I'm at home. I'm about to go to bed. Can you hear me?
Going to Plus to get some more employees
Can
for
you
the
hear
corners.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Red said
I'm at home. I'm going to give me some sleep.
Yeah, I need that. I got an early rise tomorrow, man.
Man, we got a busy week. We got your thing tomorrow, Emma. I got to show my face at Friday and everything. I'm only going because they eating that sloppy chops. That's the only reason I'm going.
But you have posting it, right?
I was
posting it on my story.
Yeah, if I didn't have to be a man, I would be at theirs. But they coming over to the picnic once they're done. Doing their thing.
I mean, I would support them because they my homies, but I'm really going because it's sloppy chops because I want to try their food.
So it's not sloppy joes, it's sloppy chops.
Yeah, it's a sloppy chop and a sloppy crab.
Well, this one is sloppy chops. The one we'll be at next week is sloppy crab.
Yeah.
Now one of them is on the Mile Road, 6 or 7 Mile or something.
That's chops. Chops on 6 Mile.
Okay.
Sloppy chops is on 6 Mile.
Is your shit delayed?
For me?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
good,
you
lady?
start kind of
I hear y'all
all
just
foggy
fine.
and stuff.
You know what? Good night. I'm out of here, y'all. Like, I'm having issues tonight.
But you look good.
Right. You suited and booted.
We got any other questions?
Let me check the gram. I don't think so. We got what, 13 minutes left?
So tell them, we got 13 minutes left. Tell us about the auction, Reg. What you seeing?
Yeah, did you get anything?
Nah, I got quite a few probate deals and some other deals that I'm doing. So I didn't even bother with the auction. Like I had this thing like for even real estate and even like with stock trading, I have a limit on how much I'm gonna do at once. Because if you jump at all the opportunities at once, it might for me it's just not everything that's a good deal might not be the right time. So I just stayed away from the auction this year.
That's right.
I looked, but I just didn't see anything that was beating what I'm already working on. So
yeah, I had people DMing me like, yeah, I'm winning at the auction and stuff, and I was like, how many days you got left? Oh, 6. I'm like, yeah, stay strong because that don't mean you winning. Just because you winning today, it's just like eBay. They don't start bidding till what, the last hour, maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah. So a friend of mine, she'll probably share the story online, so I won't tell her name and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But she said she bid it. She knew she was gonna bid a certain amount. Like she was like, I'm gonna pay this amount. And it got up to like within 2,000 or something of what she was willing to bid. And she went back and like the last minute, somebody bid it 1,000 less. So her amount was like 15. Somebody bid 14 and got it. She just didn't get back to it in time. So like sometimes if you know you really gonna go get something, sometimes she could have just went in at 14 and came back and checked it and probably wouldn't even have competition. We get scared to overpaying for something. But it's not overpaying if you already said your budget was 15. Right. So sometimes we psych ourselves out. Like, I'm going to try it at 10. I'm going to try it. Then when somebody else get it at 15, you coming back at 17. Now you over budget.
Right.
Yeah. So the whole auction effect, you have to really control your emotions and have some discipline when it comes to that. But that's cool. What's his name? Ryan? He got some.
Yeah, Ryan Trinidad.
Yeah, yep. So I like seeing people win, man. It's like, I don't know if I said this on the last show, but I just love Detroit real estate right now with all of us out here getting it. We online, but not only are we online talking about it, it is so many people doing stuff that's not really big on social media, but we know them one-on-one, right? Yeah. And they be in the building, but they really not outside, if you know what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Emma see him at the closing tables.
Right.
All the time.
I see him at Home Depot.
Yep. You see him at Home Depot. You see him at the bank.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Where it matters. So.
Thanks. Or they be at like some of the big networking events. Like I see them at Emma events and stuff like that. They just not social media.
I got the big networking events.
Yeah.
They be at your stuff. They just don't do social media like that. They want to be. Some people like being low key, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
You know, it's different strokes for everyone. My only concern is, and I was talking to one of my clients because he had called me and was like, "Hey, I'm looking at about 10 or 15 properties. I need you to pull title." And I'm like, "Well, it doesn't make sense for me to pull title." Because we know that they're tax foreclosures and technically they should be vacant. So the presumption is no one is living in them for you to hopefully have to do the cash for keys. But the other thing is, and I can't speak for other title companies as I explained to him, but I can speak for our underwriters, and almost all underwriters kind of follow the same threshold when we're looking at tax foreclosures. Because of COVID and other things that have taken place, folks that are out here bidding, they need to factor in additional costs for quiet titles this time around with their acquisition and their rehab. So, you know, for like the young lady that you mentioned, if she planned on spending 15, really for her all-in acquisition and title clearance, she should have been thinking about 17.
Yeah.
Because it's not, you know, just because of the way that the notices were and people claiming that maybe I didn't get notice. Maybe my parents was in a nursing home. Maybe someone passed away, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be hard to ensure using just a foreclosure file. The underwriters aren't going to even allow that, for the ones that I know of. Again, so it's going to be one of those years where it's going to be, you got to go through a quiet title and get the proper default judgment before you're going to be able to sell that property on the secondary market, He was like, E, you need to put that on the media. You got to tell everyone. I'm like, look, okay, I will. I'll try to get to it. But I mean, I see his point, because he was ready to go in for like 10 or 15 properties until I told him that. Because now that's an extra $2,000 on top of each one. It changes your dynamics of what you want to bid on and how many. But that's definitely something that folks got to think about on this year's auction. We'll see.
I always tell people, like, if you watching platforms or gurus or whatever you follow outside of Detroit, that's fine. You can get your basics there. But if you're going to invest in Detroit, you need to talk to the people. Even pull take somebody to lunch. You can write it off, right? Take somebody to lunch and say, "Can I pick your brain?" Or maybe they have a consultant fee. You know what I'm saying? Pay their consultant fee and go from there.
They pick your brain. Like, I hate that. Like, I mean, some people cool with it, but me, like, nah, because people do the most. Like, I pay people, like, I know people, I don't have to pay their consultant fee because we cool, but I still pay it because I respect their time.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of disrespect in my time, but I also don't mind, because I like to see people win. And unfortunately, in the field that we're in, and like Reggie said, you can watch all these different platforms. You can watch all these folks out here telling you how to make real estate. But if you're trying to do it in Detroit, you should be watching some of the folks that are doing it in Detroit and that are successful from Detroit. Because we're the ones that's, telling you about the 10 water accounts. We're the ones telling you about the way the structures are and other things that you need to know, So for me, I mean, my time is always taken advantage of, but they always come out on the winning side, which for me, I feel like I win, because then I become a referral, or, hey, I'm gonna bring the deal back, that type of thing. But I do understand what you're saying.
I mean, I get that part too. Like, I want people to win too, but I figure if you really want to win, you're gonna pay me. Just like if I want to win, I'm gonna pay.
Right.
Yeah,
I just respect people's time. But that's why y'all gonna be speaking at October 2nd on the collaboration tour with Ramon too, for this exact reason, because he was like, people always ask him about investing in Detroit, Charlotte, Alabama, all these other places. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna do events there and bring the people from those cities that's doing stuff there. Because he like, Detroit market, y'all market is really unique. And it is. Like, if you're not from here and they never did no deal here, like, Detroit might be a turnoff to you, because like Emma said, it's all these factors that you just don't know. You think you're just gonna buy something, look at the ARV and rehab it, and that's that. And it's way more, information. Way more that's a part of it. Like, I tell people all the time, the hell with comps, the hell with funding, the hell with my rehab. Emma is the most important person.
Yeah.
Like, because if my title bad, none of this other stuff matters.
Yeah.
I did a 45-minute consultation with, it was all three of them were attorneys, but one of them is a real estate broker now, right? Mm-hmm. And they're from Washington, and they wanted to invest in Detroit. Now these guys got money, but he was like, I want to buy up like 3 blocks and this and that, and I want to build this. I want to have some retail, and I want to have some residential, and I want to be able to rent the retail space out to businesses, and their employees can rent and buy our properties. So I set up the Zoom thing. I started talking about how to acquire properties. When I got to talking about, I showed him like 1 block of properties, right? And I said, okay, the land bank owns this one. Wayne County owns this one. This is the private seller. And then I was like, so if you want an up and coming area or emerging area, you might want to piggyback over here. Or if you're thinking 10 years down the line, you can go here, right? You should have seen, I wish I would have took a picture of their face on Zoom, because it looked like they really just like the soul got sucked out of them, because they were looking at the screen like, oh, this is going to be a lot more than I thought. Yep. Their perception is, I can come in Detroit and just buy a block at a time. I'm like, who you going to buy it from? Because it's all different owners. It ain't like.
And how much money you about to put into it? Like this person on the, I did a webinar last night with Nicole Purvis. She's real big in fix and flip and development in Philly. And people was always asking me about the land bank. And this one lady was like, "Yeah, I bought 3 houses for $7,500." I was like, "Yeah, you need 300,000 for rehab. Because
Yeah.
the cheaper the house, the more rehab it needs. This ain't 2008 Detroit."
Here's what I tell people too. Sometimes I just be upfront and honest with them. It's two things. They like, "Oh, I want to invest in Detroit. I want to be part of the comeback of the city." And I'm like, "No, you don't. You just want to make money. Because if you really was about Detroit, you probably would have moved here, right?"
Yeah.
So, two, the second thing is, a lot of times they'll call and they think it's something that's really not. Their perception is completely different. So, like you said, with the land bank, they spent was $7,500. They got to put $300,000 into them. Are the homes even worth that? You know what I'm saying? So,
but people just be so happy. "Oh my God, I bought 3 houses for $7,500." I'm like, if you trying to hold them, okay, but like it's this land bank house I'm looking at. This guy bought it. He don't know what he's doing, so he ain't over his head. The foundation is oh my God, it's gone. But I can fix it. It's just, do I want to deal with it because it's land bank?
yeah.
And he already done got extensions because I'm like, if I get this from you, I can't start to January.
Yep.
Oh, so that means another extension. And then depending on how the weather is in January,
I can't start really to the summer because of the foundation. And that foundation bad, like the house sagging. It's so basically weeds done turned into trees, and it's 3 pushing up on the side of the house at the driveway, and then it's like 4 that done commoggled together to become one tree at the back of the house. So I gotta jack the house up first, and you only can jack a house up 1/4 of an inch a day.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take me a week to jack it how I need it, and then relieve the pressure. But make sure I got a whole bunch of temporary supports, because once I relieve that pressure by digging out and cutting out the roofs and stuff, the house might drop back down. Yeah. So it's like I can do it, and I kind of want to do it because I like some fucked up stuff. But it's like, damn, do I feel like dealing with this right now?
Wow.
But he want 10 grand for it. It's a flat. It's on Joy Road and Dexter right for Joy Road. So all this getting
that's that area right now. That's that
right.
Area.
It's brick. The garage needs to be built. It got a lot next to it, and there's 2 more abandoned next to it that I'm sure the land bank owned that would give to me. So then I have 6 units right there. It's 3 1 up. I know, that's why I'm kind of like, if they give me an extension, I go on and do it. But you have to take 5,000. I'm not giving them 10.
Yep.
But you know what I'm. Oh, go ahead, Reggie.
No, I was gonna say, and that alone, like, people will make bad decisions coming into the Detroit market, and then they'll exit out at a loss, and then they'll have a bad taste in their mouth about Detroit when you didn't do your due diligence on the front end to say, "Hey, I'm gonna sit down and consult with somebody from Detroit that can lead me in the right direction," because you would have never brought that house in that condition in that area unless you maybe had a 10 or 15 year plan for it, right? But people come in all the time and they'll call me and be like, "How come I can't get 80,000 for it?" Because it's not an $80,000 damn house. It's a $30,000 house that you paid 40 for.
And why didn't you call me before now?
Yeah, why you waiting till now after you didn't call 8 other realtors and 4 wholesalers?
Exactly. Yep. That
every time.
I call all the time, all day, every day. But hey, that's why we do what we do.
Yep. Well, we ain't got no more questions, comments, or concerns. I'm gonna do the announcements again, and then we be out. First, Marcus, when he was here, thank you, suited and booted. Emma and Reg, thank you for being here. We was like, we just gonna make Reg a regular for the rest of the year because he's been dope. So,
hey, why not?
Well, welcome to the team, Reg. So next Friday we got EYL's event, hosted by me, Successful Real Estate, Built to Flip. I'm giving off IG names. BMF King Chill, Marcus, Apple Real Estate, Emma, all of us. They will be at Sloppy Crab, which is downtown Detroit. Because it's true, I gotta remember. The event is free from 6 to 11, so I put the link in the comments. Make sure y'all sign up and register, because there is a count. Masks are not required, but they are suggested. I'm gonna have mine on. Keep 6 feet. Don't know where you've been. Also, what other event we got? The collaboration tour with Ramon Toops, October 2nd. So I'm waiting on that flyer and the link so I can start promoting it because I don't even know where we got to be. I just know we got to be there like 9:30, 10 o'clock
All right.
Okay.
in the morning. But I will text y'all and keep y'all posted. If y'all ain't got nothing else to say, thank y'all for coming. Thanks for the donations and have a good
See
weekend.
y'all tomorrow.
Oh,
Nope. See y'all
yeah, Emma.
tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, we got to do that announcement. Announce your event tomorrow, Emma.
Oh man, now you gotta have me looking up the address and stuff and all that. Nobody have it handy. Let me see where we at. Where we at? One sec.
Yep.
I'm pulling it up. They can follow you on your page too. It's there, but I'm pulling it up, guys.
All right.
Ah, as many times as I've posted this flyer. So, anyways, it's a hidden gem in the city of Detroit. I think I told y'all before that I wanted to do a real estate picnic. And of course, all my suggestions were go to Belle Isle, go here, go there. But that's not what I wanted to do. Everyone knows what I'm about. I'm about finding those hidden gems within our great city. So I happened to meet a beautiful lady. And everyone, you come out tomorrow, you'll meet her. This particular real estate picnic is going to be on 24th and Warren. Yep. 24th and Warren.
Be in the hood with it.
In the
Yeah.
hood with it. But be ready because we done laid it out. We put our all into this, and it's for all of us in the real estate industry. I don't care if you property management, if you a tax preparer, if you a mobile closer, if you a realtor, if you're an insurance agent, if you a plumber, whatever your role is, whatever you do within the real estate industry, this is the picnic that you want to be at. You need to just come out, give yourself a pat on the back for making it through, taking that grind and getting where we are right now with all the unexpected things that have come up over the last year or so. As Asia said, masks are not mandatory, but do feel comfortable to wear them. It's enough land where we will have distance between ourselves. We got a full spread of food. We got a cash bar. We got a bounce house. We got a snow cone machine. We got face painting. We got t-shirts we're selling. We got good networking. You name it, it's there. Oh, Asia, we even got vegan sausage for you, boo.
What?
Yes,
And
yes,
Darius vegan too.
yes. And we got broccoli. We got the glazed broccoli. I'm getting the address for you guys, and then I'm gonna leave it at that.
All
Oh
right.
my God.
And I'm gonna post a flyer probably in the morning too or tonight.
Reggie, find the address. I can't find it, man. Oh, here we go.
I don't have it.
Me neither.
Oh, you know what? It might be on my Instagram feed.
It is on mine. You guys gonna kill us. Follow us on Instagram. We'll have the address posted. I'm gonna post it again tonight because it's in my phone under all these pictures. But I'll post it as my story. It'll be on my Instagram. It'll be on my Facebook, and I'll tag these guys in it. It's tomorrow from 2 to 7. Come on out, free, unless you want to just give a nice donation, give a cause for it. I'll appreciate it. If not, I still want to see you tomorrow.
That was loud.
It was.
My Instagram post. I was trying to copy and paste something. Whoops. All right. Well, I'm gonna post the flyer. Emma gonna post it. I think Reg probably done posted it too. But between the three of our pages and Marcus' page, well, four, somebody post it, and y'all will see the address.
Right.
But thank you all again for coming. I appreciate Emma and Reg and Marcus for always coming in. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you, and I will see y'all tomorrow.
All right. Have a good one.
Good night.
All right. Good night.